Rock Your Biz. Rock Your Biz, where women get together to help each other grow their business. Networking, boot camps, seminars. Rock Your Biz with Tracy Sheldrake.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Here at Rock Your Biz, we'll be showcasing women in business and how they can help other women grow their businesses. Today, we have Michelle Butt from At Face Value with us to talk about facial intelligence and how it can be applied to business. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Tracy. It's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what facial intelligence is.
Well, I'm a facial intelligence expert. So facial intelligence is looking at the features, markings, wrinkles on people's faces to understand their personality and their behavioral habits, to understand how to communicate with them, build rapport, learn how they make buying decisions, all those kinds of things.
And tell me how you got into this.
Well, I was a coach for a really long time, and I was looking for a piece of knowledge to add to my toolbox because I was working with clients and I felt like there was just something that I was missing. So I went to my favorite place in the world, which is Chapters, and I wandered around and I came across a book on Chinese face reading, and I wanted to leave the store without it, but something wouldn't let me. So I picked up the book, read it in a night, and realized this was my missing piece. So I found the person who wrote that book, and I studied with her for 2 years, and then brought it back and added it into my coaching practice to help particularly women to understand how to communicate with others better by looking at the face as that tool.
It's so amazing. And I have to imagine, as part of networking, as we all love to do, is it more beneficial for us to know what our face is saying or what we read from someone else's face?
You know what? I think both are very beneficial, because when you know yourself and how you make decisions or how you feel comfortable in talking about your business, then you understand your natural state. And then you look at somebody else and you can see if some of their features are similar to yours or different. And then you know if you should change your approach to kind of get on the same wavelength of them, or if you need to just stay doing things the way you do them in order to then build rapport with somebody. So it's a really good gauge to understand yourself and the other person.
So in terms of networking, what would be the most important features I would be looking for when I'm trying to connect during the meetings?
I think for me, when I think of networking, I look always to people's eyebrows first. And that may seem really strange, but eyebrows really indicate how somebody, among many things, but the thing that eyebrows indicate the most is how people make decisions. So different shapes of eyebrows tell you what kind of a decision maker somebody is. So, for example, if somebody's eyebrows are very straight and full, they value logic in their decision making. So you want, if you're presenting something to them or you're approaching them, you want to do it with a logical approach. If you're talking about your product or service, you want to talk about how it will help them with A, B, C, and D, and how cost effective it may be, etc. So everything that will make sense to them in order to make that decision.
So at the risk of being embarrassed, looking at me, what advice would you give me when I'm networking?
Well, what I see in your eyebrows is that your eyebrows are actually unique because they're different on each side slightly. So on your public side, which is your right side of your face, you have a very nice rounded eyebrow, which says that you value people in your decision making. So something has to make sense, but it also has to be beneficial to the people that are involved in your decision. So if somebody gives you all the facts, but they don't explain to you how it's going to help the people that you care about or the people that you're influencing, then you can't make that decision right away. It needs to make sense that way. And so when you're presenting things, you're always presenting it in that way because, this is going to be great for all of these women. This is going to be wonderful, because you always think of things in terms of that people-centered approach. Am I right there?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So aside from networking, how would this be beneficial to be applied in our businesses?
Well, one way is by understanding that in terms of how we make even if we're just sticking with the eyebrows, how we make our decisions. So you always make people-centered decisions, but there are places where you might need to be more logical. So perhaps maybe if you're hiring somebody to do your books, then you might want to look at to find someone who has straight eyebrows, because they're going to be thinking very logically and analytically, and that may help you in your business that way. So it can help you build your team by understanding that, and then just knowing that, okay, sometimes there's a place for this and a place for that, and by looking at different features, you can fit those pieces into your business a little bit more beneficially for you.
Very cool. So do you feel that different features can maybe counteract what one means over another? Like, for instance, how maybe my eyebrows don't show that I would be very logical. I am a very type A personality. Does that kind of go against that theory, and maybe other features affect that? Or what do you think?
Yeah, because we all have every feature, but we have them in different strengths. So the stronger something is, it can affect the kind of strength of the other. So for example, you have a really nice strong nose, you have nice full upper cheeks. So that really speaks to someone that I like to call a royal personality. And so a royal personality is someone who really cares about all the details. They love to be in control, and they like to be the one leading the show. So,
absolutely,
that's your type A coming out, but that doesn't mean that even though you need to be the one in control, that you aren't thinking of the people around you.
Right.
But you also are very good at telling the people around you what to do, and you have no problem with that. So, that it doesn't change the way you make decisions. It may just change the way you execute.
Okay. Well, I loved how you put the fact that my larger cheeks on a positive spin there. So tell me a little bit about how this can affect us online.
Well, the thing is, now that we're kind of in this two-dimensional world, it's sometimes harder to relate to people, because when you're in-person networking, you can get a feel for them. You can kind of know how far away someone's standing from you, or know who wants to be approached. But when you're networking online, say in a Facebook group, etc., you don't have that same sense of personal connection. But with face reading, you can see their pictures, and by understanding what their features say about how they think or how they might move through their world, you can understand their personality already without having to be in the same room with them. So if I just see your picture, I can see, if I'm going to start chatting with her about something business related, I better make sure that I talk about the people involved before she's going to buy in. And so that gives you an advantage by knowing what might be important to them just from their picture.
So all these social media headshots are very important.
They are, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, do our features change?
They do, absolutely. One of the things that's really important about our features is that they tell us how we respond to our life experience. So if, for example, you are feeling really stressed, then certain wrinkles will show up on your face to give you that indication in the mirror that, hey, you need to do something here, particularly in terms of self-care, or maybe if you're burning the candle at too many ends, then those are the warning signs that your face can tell you that will give you that wake-up call to do something else. So, that's why I love looking at wrinkles, because they give us indications of where we stand in terms of how we're seeing our life currently.
So we should be proud of our wrinkles and all our features, and
Absolutely.
not try to hide them. Okay, so thanks so much, Michelle. We're going to go for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Hi, listen every Tuesday morning to Edward Nellis and myself, Patty Tamlin, on Stouffville Morning from 7 to 9 every Tuesday on CIWS, Whistle FM 102.9.
Rock Your Biz. Rock Your Biz, where women get together to help each other grow their business. Networking, boot camp, seminars. Rock Your Biz with Tracy Sheldrake.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rock Your Biz, and I'm here with Michelle Butt talking about facial intelligence. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can check out our website at rockyourbiz.ca or email us at rockyourbiz@whistlefm.com. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about when we're networking. Sometimes we can see those that are first time out or don't know too many people. They seem to be very nervous. Is there anything they can do to help them with that?
Absolutely. So our faces can tell us a lot about how somebody wants to be approached. So normally if you see someone and they happen to be the one that's off in the corner and they look like they they're scared or they don't want to be approached, I would look for certain features. So, for example, if they do happen to have a prominent nose, or if they do have really fine bone structure, chances are those people are very much royal, similar to you. And what that would mean is that they're really sensitive to the energy in the room. So when they walk into a room full of people or women, they get overwhelmed by all of that newness, and they need to take some time to kind of acclimatize before they can walk in and chat with someone and feel their charming, wonderful selves.
Right.
And so sometimes when you see that person across, you think, oh, I can't approach them. They don't want to be approached. They're in the corner. But they may absolutely really want to be approached. They just need to feel things out a little bit. So if you go and you kind of walk up to them, give a couple of feet between them so that you're not invading their personal space, but they get to feel you a little bit, then you open them up and invite them in a way that then makes them want to then come and join the group. So it can be really a wonderful experience then for that person.
So for myself, as a host of some of these events, how can I tell, as we focus on at Rock Your Biz, as you know, is we want everybody to be comfortable. And when we do our intros, nobody has to. You're allowed to pass. What do I look for if I see somebody that maybe I want to let them know that that's okay and they don't need to be embarrassed and they can pass, or it's a non-judgmental place, so they're welcome to try?
Well, what I would do if I were you is look for the people where you know it would be a good place to start. Because usually if you get those extroverts out there doing it first, then the ones who are a little bit scared say, oh, okay, it's not that bad, I can do it. So you look for the people with the strong eyebrows, the strong jaws. They're the go-getters, the doers, so they'll stand up and do anything. So you pick maybe on one or two of those people first. They make everybody else feel comfortable, and then those shyer people will then say, okay, it's my turn, it's not so bad.
Right. And would it be beneficial for me to introduce them maybe at the beginning to a regular that may help them along during the intros as well?
I definitely would do that. Okay. I think that it might be nice, sometimes have a greeter, somebody who's got, well, you can have somebody who has like dimples and freckles and really like a fiery kind of personality who's very outgoing that can welcome people. But you also have to make sure that then that person tones back their energy a little bit if they're coming up to the shy ones, because they can be overwhelming. They might be huggers and the person that they're approaching isn't a hugger. So
where does the facial intelligence and all our features fit into our first impression that we all like to focus on?
Well, it's interesting because there are some Princeton studies that say that we make our first impressions about people within 1/10 of a second. So literally in the blink of an eye. So really, that's why I love the way that the internet has given us the ability to look at photos by Google or Facebook, et cetera. Because if you know there's going to be some people there that you might want to meet or network with, I would look at their picture first to get an idea as to what some of their personality traits are, so that then you can make a really good first impression. The other way is to begin to learn some of this stuff. So as you know, I teach workshops, and it takes a while to know, but if you can look at some key features like we've been talking about today, like eyebrows and some others that we could potentially talk about, then it gives you that good start to make that first impression.
Okay. It's very interesting stuff. It's very cool. And I know many people of you are taking your workshop and they love it. Again, if you'd like to get in touch with us, make sure you check out rockyourbiz.ca and come join us at an event. We only have 2 rules. You have to be authentic and you have to have fun. So, where do they go from there? If, say, they've connected with somebody and they think that maybe they're a really good fit, that maybe they could use that person as a coach, or they could refer that person. After they take that outside of the networking, is there any other things that they're looking for to really resonate, or is it really just your feeling towards the person?
I think it's a little bit of both. So I can give you an example. I have worked with people who, once you make a connection with someone in that space, it's then really important to continue to look for that understanding by looking at that other person and seeing them for who they really are. So I had someone in a workshop who connected with someone and was in a network marketing kind of field. And so she got the person to join her team, and But then things kind of started going a little bit south. Like that person wanted to back off. They didn't want to do so much. And she said, I thought I gave her such a great motivational speech about it. And this person had very straight eyebrows, very chiseled jaw, so very much kind of the warrior personality in facial intelligence, which is just go, just do it, you'll get all these results. And the person, when she described and showed me a picture of the person she was talking to, that person had a really round face, lots of curves, which meant that she really needed to feel nurtured. She needed to keep understanding how that business would benefit her family. And she wasn't so concerned about going and doing and moving up the ranks.
Right.
She really was concerned about how this would help support her family. And so the approach was right for my client, but it wasn't right for the person that she was trying to continue to resonate with. So when she learned this, she said, oh my goodness, I used the wrong words, the wrong approach, everything. So she went back to her and positioned it differently, and she brought that person back on board. And now they have a really
Very
wonderful
cool
relationship.
Now, do you feel you really need to understand yourself and your features and how you react to people before you can learn how they react to you?
I think once you begin to learn, the two happen simultaneously.
Okay.
I think you always have to remember who you are, and if you're different from the face that you're looking at in many respects, to be cognizant of that, because we always want to come from the place where we're at as opposed to starting where somebody else is at.
Do you feel that we think we put off an impression different than what we really do? Like you said with, I felt I really had that good connection, but it's not really how the other person felt. Why do we feel that? Why do we think that we left a good impression, but they didn't feel the same way?
I think sometimes that's because, especially in networking, we have in our heads what we love about our business. And when we're talking about it, we're always talking about what we love. And when somebody says, oh, wow, that's so interesting, or, oh, that's so great, we think, oh, they got it. They love what we do. But they're just matching us, right? Very much, with facial intelligence, there is some body language stuff. We begin to kind of match and mirror, and we don't know that we've resonated with them until we see, okay, but did I present that in a way that they would get it? Like they're getting me, but am I getting them?
Right.
And that happens in the conversations post-networking, I think.
Do you find yourself when you're out at the events that you're constantly analyzing everybody?
I think that now it's so unconscious for me that I do some of it unconsciously, but when I know I'm specifically going in to talk about something, I tune in and make sure, especially if I see differences, that I present from that point of view. So
how does it work between men and women? Most of our networking at Rock Your Biz is with women, but are the features the features? They mean the same thing, whether it's male or female?
Pretty much, yes. I think with women, we have the ability with makeup to sometimes manipulate our features to help us gain some strengths, and that we can't do that men can do by growing beards or mustaches, etc. So, there are those kinds of differences. For the most part, a feature is a feature, but the strength of a feature in a woman may be strong but not look as strong on a man, or vice versa, right?
Okay.
But they still have the same meaning. In terms of some things, in terms of age, there's opposites. So, for example, like on our faces, the year 1 to 7 is on our right ear. On a man, it's on his left ear. So those are things when you're going deeper to find some deeper life experience impacts, there's subtle differences there.
Okay. So now, obviously, this isn't just for business. For all the single ladies out there, what advice would you give them on when they're looking to connect?
Oh, that's one of my favorite niches to work. I love that one. I think that, sometimes we look at what we're attracted to because we think, I just want Tom Cruise or whoever. But we don't understand what those features mean. Right. So I think when we begin to make our list from the point of view of what kind of personality and values do I want in somebody, then you can map those traits to certain facial features, and you'll begin to see that different features and different faces are attractive to you in a new way.
So that's very cool. So if I had a certain type I was always looking at or interested in, if I knew what those features meant, then I could change the features I want to look for. Is that what you're saying?
I would say so. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
very cool. So I could have a whole new type just by learning what
Exactly.
the features are.
Yeah, I've had people who say, I would never date a bald man. Oh, never. I'm just never attracted to them. But then when I ask them, well, what do you value? And they say, I value romance. I value spontaneity. I value someone who will make me laugh. And then I say, well, you know what? Bald men typically have those qualities. It's part of their nature. And they think, oh, really? And I
Okay,
say,
but can they trick you by shaving their head?
they can.
Do they
in a-
have to be naturally bald?
No, because once it's there, then it changes kind of the energy
Okay,
around it. But then they
okay.
have to stay that way. But,
Okay.
naturally. And then I said, just give someone a try. And they'll go out with that guy and they say, you know what, you were right. He was so funny. He was so charming. By the end of the night, he was way more attractive to me. And I normally